Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Miyoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. I'm live from Fukuoka Prefecture, Japan. How are you guys doing? I'm on time. Oh my gosh, how long has it been since the last time I actually came on time? And don't I look like glowing today? Do you know why? Because now this service that I'm using has a filter. Yay! Thank you so much for making me look beautiful. Yes. I see you guys already. Hey, Scott says, hi, Yoko. Hey. Hello, John. Hello, Yoko. And possible producer here. He's still out. We were attending a gathering in the morning. I came home earlier to join you guys. So, yes. Maybe I should have a gathering every morning so that I wake up. Like I force myself to wake up early to do these live streams. Just saying. Hey yo, hello from Texas. Awesome. What is that? What is that? Can't tell what that is. But thank you. Hey, hello. Thank you so much for coming. So before I get started, if you can, buy my art. I'm an artist too, and I have recently drew two pictures. I should draw more, but two of my recent works, like art pieces, are uploaded on Etsy, and I've put the link in the description box. So please check it out. And I don't think that you understand Japanese, the majority of you, but if you do understand Japanese, I uploaded a new video in Japanese with my husband too. And that video is about our next activity in Tokyo, which we are leaving for very soon. But there will be this forum about post-Russia. What that means is that they are having this forum. Like it's the seventh time in the world. It's the seventh forum that they're having, but they're now doing it in Japan, in Tokyo, and we are attending. My husband will be speaking, but it's about post Russia, meaning that they have this ideal map of Russia after this war. And or maybe this war is what creates the map, but the map shows 41 groups in Russia, like getting independent. So meaning dividing Russia into 41 pieces. How exciting is that? So and I don't know how much that is realistic, politically speaking, but coming from Japan, for Japanese people, we were fighting against the colonization by the West. You probably don't want to see it that way, but that's how we view, right? And so after the World War II, there were lots of confusion and lots of treaties going on. And then there were times for, Asian countries that were colonized to get independence. So Japanese soldiers, for example, some of them stayed in the areas or countries that they were dispatched to, and they fought with the local people for their independence and so forth. So we have that historical background. So this forum, about post-Russia, I don't think that's too far from, just it's not an imagination. It's something that we need to talk about. And it's not only about Russia, when it comes to China, right? Like I'm an activist, and my husband and I, we are fighting against China. And what we are focusing on is actually dividing China, right? Like separate and conquer. And you have to make sure that you divide your enemies, like enemy's country or enemy power. You divide it and make them weaker, right? And so that's why we help and support Tibet, Uyghurs, the Mongolia, Hong Kong, and so on, because they are, China says that they are part of China and they're colonizing those countries. And I am fighting together with the people, the people from the nation states, to get them independent, right? So that they will be no longer part of China. And so that will, get rid of some of the Chinese power, right? Especially like the concentration camps, for example, Uyghur people are put. It's said like 1 million, 2 million people, right? From Uyghur people, they are put in concentration camps and they are forced to labor. And of course, their organs are, taken out alive, without anesthesia, is it the word? And so on, like horrible human rights oppression going on, like all this violation going on. But that's why China is strong economically. But if then it's Turkestan, the Uyghur people gets independent, then China loses that. So that's something that I've been passionately working on, and same for Russia, right? Russia for Japan is an enemy. The current Russia right now is nothing different from Soviet Union, which we fought against. And so, yeah. So we are attending the event. It's gonna take place on August 1st to the 2nd. Today is July 30th. So it's very, very soon, and we are flying to Tokyo again. That's why your financial support will be very, very much appreciated. Okay, two of us going to Tokyo and staying there, eating expensive foods. I don't know how much they will cover that. So like, yeah. So if you can, please support us. Even though I know that when it comes to Russia, many people have different ways of views. So you might not support me on that. But anyway, you're looking elegant as always. Thank you. Especially thanks for the filter. It's like I had the option of touch up. Do you want to do the touch up? I'm like, yes. And then it's like glowing. That's awesome. And also like I updated my phone, right, to the recent version. And then, oh no, it's, I guess, rather my laptop. And it says that it's supposed to help me, like it's supposed to use that phone as a web camera, which I'm doing right now, but it should have function. But somehow it's not linked very well with my laptop right now. I gotta look into that. But I saw the function, like if you know, it follows you, when you move and so on. Like if you turn on the function. So yeah, lots of great features nowadays. Also, I have a gaming channel, just so you know. Sometimes I get like I post gaming content on Twitter too. Oh no, it's not Twitter anymore. It's X, right? I post X's on X. I'm so confused. But yeah, I play COD Mobile, and also recently for the past few days, I've been playing, what's the name? What's the mobile version of the Escape from Tarkov? And so a Russian game, but it's the mobile version is developed by Tencent, same as COD Mobile, meaning Chinese company. But I do have to, like, even though I fight against China, like especially the regime, I am not completely against China. Like how all these Chinese people work. Like they have all this IT technology and skills, and they have populations, so there are many smart people too. So I'm impressed. Like, just decades ago, China was a small, it's not small, but like lots of people, but the level was so low, right? Like it was not prosperous and so on. But today, I mean, part of their growth comes from like stealing intellectual properties and so on, of course. And that's what sucks about China, like there are great Chinese people, but we can't even compliment them because we don't know like how much of a crimes that they're committing, right? Like we can't celebrate their skills like we would love to, but we can't because we don't know, and that really sucks, you know. And but I sincerely though, like when it comes to mobile games, Tencent does a great job, with developing the applications. And what is that one? I'm so like I didn't sleep long today. Oh, Arena Breakout. Arena Breakout. Arena Breakout is something that I've been playing. You should play it too. What's good about playing all these war games is that you get a sense, even though it's just a game, you think about wars, you like as a soldier, and I think that it's missing from today's world. So it's very good. I'm rambling, but I'm in a rambling mood. This is a Q&A session, and I'll take your questions, but I'm in a rambling mood. So let me talk a little bit more. So the gaming, right? So war game and this Arena Breakout, it has something to do with politics. You know what I want to say, okay? So just bear with me. It's not a game talk, but I think that it's important today for us, but modern generation to actually play like war games and so on, especially coming from enemy countries, because we get to understand how they think, right? The thought processes. It's something that we need to understand. It's just some, gaming people that developed this game. However, their culture is reflected, right? When you look at gaming games, that are available today, when I look at Japan, for example, it's all about the beautiful graphic and cute characters or cool characters and storylines that is kind of sad, or, something that makes you think, horror too, like it's kind of scary. It comes to your mentality. Same for movies, I guess, but right? And America, for example, it's all about the effects and like just dopamine rush and so on. Like it's just so much fun. It's like you get in the moment and receives lots of dopamine, right? And that's America for me, right? And Russia is like, I don't know, it's very like realistic. And there, I don't know, it's way different, and that's why I think that it's part of why I enjoy this game, because the idea comes from Russia, right? The Arena Breakout, it's said that it's a mobile version of the Escape from Tarkov, which is a Russian PC game. So it's a war game, and you go to the raid with gears, and then you actually kill people or find corpses, and then steal the things from the corpses. Like after you go into a war and you win, you want to take something, out of the soldiers, I guess. So that's their culture. So yeah, that's very interesting, right? And I think that it's important for modern people like myself to play war games, because I have no idea what it's like in the battlefield. But playing the game, even though it's just on a gaming level, but like especially this Arena Breakout or the Tarkov, they have like recreated the real life to as much as they can, so it's very realistic. You have to act like in real life, taking care of your body, like getting lots of water and foods and blah blah blah, and you have to fight and then take the stuff while making sure others are not looking at you, and so on. So that's important. And another thing is, aside from gaming, what's missing, I think, in the world today, I was at the gathering today, and they were talking about the Japanese polity. Is it polity? Like what Japan is, which is mainly it's not royal, the imperial family, right? Like we have the emperor, what you call emperor. It's Tenno. Let's put my doggy here. We have our what you call emperor, and it's the big family, and then the family comes from our god, so it's the direct offspring, and he's still very much alive, right? The same bloodline, and then we are all the offsprings of our first emperor, and our emperor isn't an emperor, it's Tenno, and which means that it's a symbol of our country. Like each emperor is Japan, so it's a symbol. And even though like the presence is in the system, the emperor is supposed to just watch over us, like God, but in a human flesh. So that's how it is. And they were talking about it today in the gathering that I attended this morning. And I was thinking how it's missing, nowadays. The guy that was talking, making a speech there, was pointing out how many murder cases are happening in Japan today. And it's usually when it happens in Japan, like nowadays, like some killings, random killings happen, on a train or on the road or something, or I mean on the street and so on. But mainly when Japanese people commit crimes, it's usually in the family, right? But it happens because we are lacking in like spiritual teachings and believing in what we cannot see and so on. Because if we did, then we wouldn't want to kill each other, right? So it's like I feel like the modern times, we have all this missing parts, that we have developed technology and also became prosperous, and along the way we have forgotten many important things. And I'm just realizing that today. Anyway, sorry for rambling. Thank you for listening. Good evening from New Orleans, Yoko. Good to see you again. Things sure not getting better over here, are they? Yeah. I mean, how's the presidential election race going on? I see Trump. It's Trump everywhere, right? And I think that, Trump and Elon Musk kind of they're kind of similar, when let me talk about X, right? People are talking about X. Why? Because it's very confusing. Now finally the app is X, like on your phone you see X and it's written as X, right? It's no longer Twitter or the bird, it's all gone. And finally the logo is steady, and I guess that it's you know uh embodied, like it's in the system now, so it's completely X. But along the way it didn't, like they didn't all of a sudden you know change everything, right? Like, oh, Elon Musk was like, oh, here's a logo, oh, something special is coming, and it's gradual, right? And if you see on a professional level, that's very confusing, and that's not like professional, right? And the YouTuber that I have followed for over what, like a two, 2008 or so, so that's a long time ago. But there's this female public figure from America named Justine. She has millions of followers because she had launched her channel since the very first time of YouTube. But she's into technology and introduces like technological gears and so on. And I still follow her on Twitter, I mean X, and she follows me too, surprisingly. But she was posting a lot of her reactions, like honest reactions of being confused by X, like pointing out on the platform, like here's Twitter, but here's X, like all is mixed. But then what's happening is that she is posting about it, right? And so are other people. Like, what is the logo gonna look like? Or now the logo is here, but what's gonna happen? And we're all talking about it because it's so like out of order. But that's part of the exciting thing, right? About like changing this company, like buying this company and changing into something else. And we are seeing the whole process, and we cannot stop talking about it. Even here in Japan, it's a huge deal. It's not only on the news, but also people are reacting. And I think that that's how you do a great business nowadays, because it's about being viral and so on. And what's common of Elon Musk's way with Trump is exactly that. Trump is somebody that you cannot ignore, right? The media loves Trump. They say that they hate Trump, but they keep talking about him because he has the number. He brings he raises the money that the media can make, or the views that they can attain. So I'm just it's interesting, to see all these patterns, among the successful people. Anyway, super chat, thank you so much. I saw in one documentary in particular that Japan has three main religions: Shintoism, Buddhism, and Christianism. Is that true? I always wondered about it. Yes, the majority, I mean, Japanese people are mainly Shintoist and Buddhists. But these two, the thing about Japan is that we are very tolerant, and we believe in everything, and we just swallow everything. So Shinto and Buddhism are not completely separate. Of course, Buddhism started, I guess, in India or somewhere, right? And then it came to Japan, right? And we already had our religion called Shinto, and then Buddhism came. And usually what happens with religions is, as you see in the conflict between Christianity and Islam and Judaism, I can't pronounce it well, but yeah, those three are fighting all the time, right? Like lots of times it's a war. But in Japan, our leaders back then were very smart. They just integrated, they just swallowed Buddhism into our culture so that it's all mixed in Japan. So, yeah. And what's interesting is that I hear that Buddhism has nothing to do with, being connected to your ancestors. Not too sure. But in Japan, every religious groups, there are many different types of religions here as well. There are Christian people or Muslims, and also recent like religious, like spiritual groups. Japan is a free country, so there are many different groups. But what's common in each of them is that we find our ancestors records, like where we come from. Like we look into the roots, like, and especially we have to draw a family tree and make sure that we know all our ancestors, as many as we can, so that we can, they're there watching us, and they're recognized by us, so they're happy. So then it's like we are supporting each other. So that's a common background of whether it's Shinto or Buddhism here, or other religions. Even the Christian groups, religious groups, they have all this ancestor aspect that that I don't think that Christianity, has originally, but like we are adding stuff, in a Japanese style. So, but yeah, mainly it's just Shinto and Buddhism. But the very important part of it all is that Japanese people they don't think that they are religious. They are, but they don't realize it. They are not aware. It's just very much attached to our cultural background. When we, for example, when we have a meal, we do this, right? Like a prayer, right? It's kind of like a prayer, but we do this and then, say itadakimasu and then eat. But what we are doing is not, I guess it's partially we're talking to our God and so on too. But the biggest part of this is that we see the foods in front of us, and it's not the thank you, like Christianity, thank you God for our food, blah, blah. That's not the Japanese way. The Japanese way is that we are receiving all these lives of animals and plants and so on, like vegetables and so on. They were alive, but they were taken away. Their lives were taken away to feed us. So we thank them, for the sacrifice. So then we are like, itadakimasu, like, please, like, thank you for your life, and then eat. And so, and another time that we do is when we go to shrine, or my place, for example, have a mini shrine. And every day, my husband and I, we do this, and we talk to our ancestors and our gods, saying like, thank you so much for watching over us, and please just move us for the directions that we need to go to support you and support this world. So we are not thinking about ourselves. We are there for others, including the world that we can't see and so on. I guess that the part of it comes from the aspect that we are afraid of what we cannot see. We say thank you or sorry beforehand so that nothing bad happens. And when natural disasters happen, the nature is scary, right? Like no matter how much not Japanese, no matter how much people in the world use our brain, like we can only know only a bit of the whole system. So we don't know how to coexist or co-live with the nature. So for Japan, we face all this, difficult situation, like nature-wise. Then we treat nature as something that is magnificent. Something that we pray for. So that we are hoping that they will not be angry at us. So yeah, something like that. I hope that you get the idea. Yes. Oh, Daniel, thank you for a super chat. Does someone's religious beliefs matter when running for a political office? Is it brought up? No, not at all. And what happens in Japanese politics is that it is, oh yeah, speaking of which, I guess it only happens in Japan, but I know a friend, like locally, he's a city council member and like a local politician, right? And he belongs to 5 different religious groups. It's like Christianity, Buddhism, Shinto, like all different. And he belongs to it, and each other groups knows about it, and they don't care, because like in the end they believe that by him belonging to their group, they believe that he will finally understand that our group is the best, something like that. But usually, so generally, if the politician is very good at elections, if they have the knowledge about elections, many of them, maybe it might not be like belonging, but they go to greet and so on. Or even Shinzo Abe, right? This is why Shinzo Abe is like, was attacked by the media, and that also part of the reason why he was assassinated, but he was close to this religious group called Unification Church, right? The Christian-based religion in South Korea. And so it's not like he was controlled by the religious group. Politicians in Japan, they want votes from anywhere that they can, any organization, whether it's a company, corporation, your family, your friend circle, or club, or whatever, and religious group, right? Like it doesn't matter. And so often they belong, but it's usually not talked about. It's behind the scenes, and also politicians, of course, don't want to say like, oh yeah, my votes come from this group and that group. Like if you do that, your presence is not going to be very strong, right? Like you want to do it secretly. So that's how it is in Japan. Thank you for your support. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. Let's see. Let's scroll up. Sorry, I was rambling so much that. Okay, let's see. My coworker told me the real reason for the Ukraine war is there is lithium there. It's a monkey grab. Elon Musk building Tesla in Mexico is because of lithium there. Lithium. I think there was a song like that, Evanescence. But I see. Of course, it always, I guess, that there are, resource thing happening. I'm not an expert when it comes to Russia-Ukraine war, so I don't know. But the problem that I have is that I guess Americans have different ways of views, and it's okay. Like everybody is entitled to each of their opinion. But in Japan, there are lots of like Putin's fans. There are supporters of Putin, just like there are supporters of Trump. And I'm like, why do you support Putin? And then they complain at the same time that our money shouldn't be, just like some Americans are saying, our money shouldn't go into that, and Putin is actually trying to fight against globalism and blah blah blah, and they say that. But I'm like, why don't you it contradicts in my thought process, because it's Putin who is invading Ukraine, right? And why don't you just stop him, right? If Putin is such a good guy, just talk to him and make it stop. So that Ukraine side, they were just being Ukrainians, right? It's not like they were invading into Russia. It's the Putin side who is invading and trying to change the border. And I don't know why we don't talk about that, but it's interesting. I wonder why your coworkers knew about the background. Yoko, I have a concern when I try to get a Japanese girlfriend. I don't like the indirect communication. Like I can't read the air. Of course you can't. You come from a different cultural background. If that's highly expected of me, then I want someone who's direct. I'm pretty sure that you can find direct gals. They are. It's rare. It's rare, but there are girls like that. And sometimes, even though it's a minority, there are those who get married internationally. Actually, many of my friends got married internationally, right? Because I studied English, and so were my friends. So yeah. I mean, so did my friends. Yeah, indirect. I really hate it too. Like even though I'm Japanese, I don't know if it's from like the influence from America, or that what I have, the local spirit. Locally, I feel like our women are very strong and opinionated. you know. So maybe that's, I feel like I'm just like my grandma who has already passed away decades ago, but she was very talkative and she was very strong and she would say her opinion anywhere. She's super strong and lived until like in her 90s and so on. But yeah, there are girls like that, very direct, stubborn. Maybe stubborn is something that you don't want, but there are people like that. I guess that you have to go to people though, like you I feel like young people especially struggle with romance because they don't go to the next one easily. They drag and drag and drag and see if there's still a chance with the one that you've already dated. You gotta just quickly dump and move on and find the right one because you're not young forever, right? Center stage on iOS tries to keep you centered in the camera. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know how to do that yet. Some irony I see there. Oh, well, I wonder what it is. No. Stealing IPS today makes me doubt previous historical inventions claimed by China. Huh. Technology is crazy. I used to work at this restaurant that was owned by Chinese people. All the primary staff were sending back almost all their money to China. All of them plan on going back. That's good. Yeah, it does happen a lot in Asian, like among Asians. If you go to a Japanese hotel, go to a Japanese hotel, then the cleaning staffs, the staff that you see are most likely like from Southeast Asian countries like Philippines and so on. They're not. I don't think that they speak Japanese very well either, but I see them often, and I'm pretty sure that they're sending their money back home to support the family and so on. And what's sad is that Japan is becoming cheap, just like other Asian countries, in the South or in the, back in time it was China, but now China owns us. And Chinese tourists, for example, when they come here, they drop so much money. They buy up everything that they can and then go back because it's so cheap, right? Especially now the yen is weak, so the Westerners now can travel here and they are buying so much too, which is great, of course, to Japanese economy, because we can't, the cycle is not good for us right now. But yeah, and then what happens is that what I saw on TV, was it like last year? I don't remember when, but during COVID times I saw the examples on TV saying, showing the Japanese young people working in Australia, and they're doing the exact same thing as they were in Japan, but they're making so much more money. I bet that it's expensive there too. So I don't know how much they get to save, but still, like, it's way better than Japan, they said. But I don't know. I don't know if that's a smart move, but they were saying stuff like that, so it does happen. Metro video game series. Russian developers. Okay. Interesting. Just finished watching season 2 of Vinland Saga, truly an anime masterpiece about the reality of war and the cycle of hatred. I like the way you put it. Vinland Saga. What is that? Let me look it up. Vinland Saga 什么没有? Huh. It began in 2005. I see. Cool, cool, cool. I don't read comic books, so I have no idea. But that's good. Yeah, yeah. I guess that like in our comics, there are lots of fighting, right? Like even like girls fight, for the world peace. Sailor Moon. I grew up watching Sailor Moon, and they're like what, like in a high school or middle school? Uh, I don't know. They all these young girls are have a superpower and they fight against the evil. So that's cool. Oh, Daniel, thanks again for your super chat. Is there a problem with corporations in Japan having too much influence on politics and culture? I guess that there are lots of what you call oh yeah, vested interest. Now I remember. Before even googling, cool. Vested in interests, right? Like like big corporation gets to have the job from the government and so on. They also dominate the market, so it's the problem is there, I guess, especially when it's tied with politics. But we don't see it as a problem. We just see as it's just how it is. And but at the same time, in the international society, we are proud that there are big corporations. When you look at the US, there are lots of big, what it's called, like GAFA. Oh my gosh, GAFA. Wait, it's Twitter is not included, right? But so there are big corporations dominating the whole system online and so on. For example, that's just on the online part. But there are lots of big corporations in the US, and that's just how it is in America. But over here in Japan, our self image of Japan is we are a small island nation, even though we aren't. Like we are an island nation, but the land that you see on the map is actually way bigger than it appears. Because it just due to how you picture a map. Because of course the Earth is round and you draw it on a map, then something gets messed up, and that's Japan. It gets smaller, but it's big. But our self-image is a small nation. So, and we see all these big corporations, especially from the US. To Japanese people, the US is very close, right? There are lots of US uh, military stations, and also our system is like after World War II, we were occupied, and there are lots of influence, right? Like socially, and also the US is advertised very well. Hollywood influence, music influence, that's here too. So yeah, and then we just look at the US like our country too, right? Like it's the country. The US is just close to us, like mentally. And so when we look at the US, then we see lots of big powerful politicians and public figures. Like the media here cannot, as I said in the beginning of this stream, like they can't ignore Elon Musk, and they talk about him like every day. And so and compared to that, even though Japan has like Toyota and what, I can't even, Nintendo. Oh wait, that's bought by America now. Like lots of corporations are bought by the US and so on. Like we are not rich enough to survive. So that's something that's happening, right? So so then we are proud when there are big corporations, I think, to compete with the other countries. Like I don't know why it took so long to talk about this, but I hope that I answered your question. Let's see. Maybe I should scroll down. Yoko. Hi. Awesome. Let's see. Let's go from the bottom because I feel like I'm reading like a way earlier comments. Hello, Yoko. What is the current situation of the Japanese military readiness? We are hurrying up, but budget-wise, I don't know if we are able to. Like, but always, I guess that we can go in debt. um, like as long as Japan sustains itself somehow, then we can repay our own debt, I guess. But anyway, so at least like our budget, like our goal of our expense is set to 2%, right? Like international standard, I believe. So that's a huge step. And also recently, like last December, our administration right now, Kishida administration, revised our like defense documents, and like meaning that our goals and directions and so on, and what to buy and so forth. And I'm pretty sure that our prime minister was discussing with the US too. And Biden, by the way, made a gaffe saying that Biden was actually pressuring Japan for 3 times to make it better. So it's a gaffe, and they corrected, like, oh, it was different, like they said something else to cover it up. But I don't think that it was just a genuine gaffe by Biden, which is that he often like leaks the internal discussion to the public. So that's just part of it, I guess. But so I guess that considering that though, like of course the problem of sovereignty and the national pride and so on, considering that, that's bad. But at least like Japan is revising our military plans and budget and so on, so that's good. And when it comes to like actual combats, we are exercising a lot with the US and South Korea. And just very soon, I believe that our prime, is it a prime summit level? I think it's the summit level, like the leader level. But there will be like a meeting in the US in Washington, I think. I was reading a newspaper roughly earlier. Let me check because was it today? Is it today's? Wait, no, this one. Sorry. Just a moment. Yeah, on August 18th, in Washington, Camp David, Japan, US, South Korea summit is gonna take place. That's good, right? So, and they're gonna discuss on North Korean missile. So the thing is that what happens in Japan is that we talk about national security and we are, changing our system for the better right now. But so we are, of course, assuming the emergency by China, right? Like Taiwan emergency, and what's going to happen to Japan and so forth too, like all these regions included. But when Japan's economy is very much like deeply merged with China, right? Like we are deeply in the relationship with China, so we can't really criticize China strongly. So when it comes to national security, what happens is that, oh, North Korea is launching missiles to Japan. Like the direction is like for the Japanese side always. So like, oh, it's dangerous. Let's talk about it. Hey, South Korea, come here, or hey Biden, like this is what's happening. And then we meet and we talk about national security, but it's actually, of course, not only about North Korea. We say to the public like, oh, North Korea is a threat, it's dangerous. It is dangerous for America. For Japan, it's like it's been dangerous for like a long time. So for America, there are, new developments coming from North Korea, but it's just an excuse to revise our system for the better. So yeah, that's what happens. We say like if it was happening like during Abe administration too, like they were saying that this is for North Korea, like North Korea is dangerous. Yeah. And then actually we are preparing for China. So that's a fun part, I guess. And Taiwan, I saw Taiwan, our newspaper, by the way, this is not even a conservative paper. Let's see. Yeah. You guys have AUKUS and so on, and we have a free and open Indo-Pacific strategy and national security wise. Let's see, for example, like this is introducing like over here, the US Australia co-producing missiles, and then cooperation strengthened with Japan and so on. Oh, it's with, I guess that they talked about it during a 2+2 yeah. And so and also like it says like China, what's the word? Kensei? I forget English. Let me see. Kensei. There you go. Restraining China. And that's clear, the title says. And then over here is about the Japan-US South Korea summit, about North Korean missile, and then the US giving lots of money to Taiwan. Probably American right wings and conservatives don't like it, but China is the real enemy. So, but when it comes to Russia, you know what I talked about earlier, dividing Russia, the idea of dividing Russia is cool, but we are not sure, when I personally think about it, like what's going to happen, like where will the nuclear power go? Like there, let's say the 41 or maybe less. We don't know. But when those states, or regions get independent, what's going to happen, and the relation with China. The host of the event was saying that China probably would like one big Russia, so that the big Russia with the one big Russia, when you think about it, like if it's one Russia and if it's big, then it's easy to do trades and so on, to do business together. It's only one and it's big, so it's beneficial, right? But when it's separated, it's gonna be hard, right? But at the same time, if it's small, then it would be easier for China to take down each of them. See, but then there will be many fronts too. So what would China think? And simultaneously, I was just talking about North Korea, but when you think about North Korea, would China, doesn't say, but North Korea nuclear technology development, it's not pleasant news for China either. Usually North Korea, launches their missile to, they are aiming for America, they do like they do it like this way. I forget the word. Like there's a term, instead of going like this way to the states directly, like you don't want to attack now, so it's on an experiment level, so they launch to the top and then see how long they can, right? But they do that to the Pacific Ocean side, right, to like a Japanese side. and that's where they're aiming for. But what it means is that if North Korea launches, like fires a missile and it can reach to the US, then it can go to the opposite direction too, right? It can go to Chinese side too. So that's a threat for China too. Even though North Korea is a pet, they're puppets of China. But at the same time, North Korea North Korea is so good at survival somehow. It's unbelievable. Like even though I hate North Korea and they are our enemy, they have abducted hundreds of our like ordinary citizens, and they still are capturing them, like Japanese people in North Korea right now, in this awful state right now. People are in poverty, and all the money are invested in military technology and all the gears and so on. But even though we have all these problems with North Korea, like at the same time, like part of me is actually impressed that Kim Jong Un is still somehow managing to have the country together. And like he's a dictator, right? And he's not assassinated. Our leader was assassinated, but he isn't, and he has many, you know, big bosses around like Russia, China, and so on, but he's somehow surviving. I'm like, wow. Anyway, thank you for super chat. Oh yeah. Oh no, that was not a super chat. I thank you for the super chat, Juice Flux. I miss the old days when we had a president who would walk right to the DMZ and do a talk no jutsu with Kim Jong Un. Yeah, Trump was so strong. Like we were expecting more though from with the relationship with North Korea. Trump and Kim Jong. I had never seen Kim Jong Un smiling so much. He had to smile, right, to read the air with Trump. I'm pretty sure that Kim Jong Un was frightened by the presence of Trump. Trump is just not a president. Like of course, he's a like successful businessman who's been in the like a rich people circle for such a long time, like entire life, right? And I bet that he's got the aura, and that like you can't mess with him, right? Like it's and then he's the president, and I'm pretty sure, and it's the US is just the size is just so huge compared to North Korea, right? And yeah, so it was interesting to see how Kim Jong reacted to Trump. Even though to the public nothing good happened, afterwards, like the meeting was like friendly and good, and they signed on something, but then we didn't see any development. But at the same time, I think that it's like making your enemy closer. And also during Trump administration, it's not like they stopped the sanctions against North Korea, so they kept it as it is, so that's good, right? And Biden right now, though, even though, for example, how Biden administration keeps paying so much, like giving so much money to Ukraine, like of course it's bad for the US economy. But the problem, I think, is that not the fact that the US is interfering in Ukraine. It's about how. I don't think the Biden administration is doing it efficiently. Like you can see that by how they withdrew from Afghanistan. So it's not about what to do, but it's about how to do. And Biden administration right now is not good. Thank you for your super chat. Okay. Battery manufacturing is heavily dependent upon materials from China. I see. Yeah, all these resources, man. But Japan, at least, like, we are developing all this technology to try to come up with something else too, right? If only we, like, yeah, if we didn't need like the certain resource that we don't have, then things would be much, much better. Man, I'm getting hungry. Oh, it's been an hour. I should go. Wow, you were on early. Yes. If you go back to see this stream, the beginning of the stream, I'm explaining why. Thank you for coming. John Bolton ruined everything where he called for a Libya model for North Korea, which is why Trump fired him. Was it the reason? But I remember that does, like, I do remember talking about Libya model. I forget what that is though. I need to remember that, like, it's so important. It's about like steps to denuclearization. To give up nuclear weapons. I see. Right. Yeah, it's. Oh, my husband is home and he's sneezing. Oh, you didn't like Bolton? My husband was kind of in favor of Bolton because he was like, how the media was here was introducing Bolton was like the madman. I think, was he the madman or something? Oh wait, it's somebody else maybe, but yeah, it's important that somebody is crazy. your representative should be crazy, you know. I almost missed the whole thing because I thought the first notification was a live in 30 minutes reminder. Oh, I see. Good that you're here. Bless you. Thank you. Um, Bolton seems overly aggressive. I see. Right. Trump is interesting because he's a king of negotiations, right? And you, and by the comments that Trump makes during his speech, you expect something crazy. But then he's a businessman, so when it comes to the deals, he's actually very friendly, yet kind of scary, I guess, like, you know, pressuring. But yeah, it's very friendly, and you just have to listen to him, I guess. Like, I've never met him yet, so I don't know what it's like, but yeah, it's interesting how he appears to the public and how he does the job are seems to be different. I wish that I could see him in person. Just by seeing, you know, in person for a little bit gives you the idea, right? Like, of what kind of person that is, right? But I'm close with JCU, Japanese Conservative Union, you know, counterpart of ACU, American Conservative Union. And JCU leader, I mean, the chairman, J.I.A.B.A., he flies to the US often, right? And then he has met with President Trump so many times, I think, or not so many, I guess, but he has met him. And if you go to his office, you see the picture with Trump and so on. That's really cool. And sometimes, it's not sometimes, I think for CPAC, I think GCU takes the supporters to the US and then let them participate in the real, like, the American CPAC. And then also because the chairman of JCU has established this great relationship with ACU, and because ACU is very close to Trump, like, the Japanese people can meet Trump. So that's amazing. I should tag along one day. I think the CEO of Toyota said electric cars were not sustainable and worth won't be making them. Oh yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, it's crazy though. Like, all these environmental activists say that we should have electronic cars, but then how are you going to generate that electricity? That's the important part. And then also, like, it will work in the city, right? There are stations that you can charge your car, then that's cool. But you can't go on road trips, right? Because you don't, at least gasoline you can carry them, right? Or the hybrid cars that mix with water, I guess. Like, I don't know how it's wired, but like when it comes to electricity, you can't you can do that. I don't know, but I guess I don't have a car. I don't have a driver's license, so when it comes to cars, I have no knowledge. So sorry if I'm saying dumb things. But I'm Japanese. I live in Japan, so like I don't need cars. The problem of the U.S. is that the land is so big that you need a car, right? It's interesting that all these environmental activists, I bet they are using lots of, like, they spend their time in cars too. Mm. Is Japan interested in plugging electric cars? Honda and Toyota don't seem too keen on making too many of them. Mm-mm. I, I haven't been checking that sort of news. I should be, but yeah, it probably has a lot to do with the resources. I have seen news about, like, the battery, like you have to have the resources, so they are in many countries. But when it comes to cars, I don't know. Hmm. I just think that it's not realistic and it's not efficient, like you generate electricity and that's enough. Like, that's such a hard work. And in Japan, we are not using, like, we have nuclear power plant, which is very efficient and clean energy, but the left opposes to that, saying that it's dangerous. And part of it probably comes from the propaganda from China too, because China keeps attacking our nuclear power plants because that's an easy way to attack Japan. They don't care what it is that they use as an excuse, but they just attack Japan. So, and the leftists here are the puppets of China. They are very much pro-China. So they listen to their China's rhetoric a lot. So because of that, electricity is very expensive here, and part of the reason why our economy is bad and the everybody's fee every month is high is due to the fact that we are not using the nuclear power plants. Not here in Fukuoka or Osaka area, because we are actually our nuclear power plants are moving, functioning. Hmm. Let's see. I skipped a lot of comments though. Okay. Let's see. Yoko, how much do you know about Haruki Murakami? What are your thoughts of him? He's really popular in America. Yes, he is. He's popular worldwide. Isn't he a leftist? 村上春樹って左そうでもない。 Probably a leftist, but he doesn't comment on political stuff. My husband doesn't remember. Maybe he has commented, but my husband doesn't remember, so probably so not much impression. I personally, I'm not a reader. I don't read books. I should be, but I don't. I'm too lazy. Um, so yeah, I like to read, right, like newspaper or some solid information, like real stuff. But when it comes to especially like novels and so on, that's luxury. So even though sometimes you need to read for your heart and mind and how you see the world, it's important to nurture yourself, but I don't do that somehow. Judaism. I don't know. I don't remember how the word what that word is. Judaism, was it? Let's see. Let my computer speak it. Judaism. Oh, it's simple. It's more simpler than I thought. Wait, do I see a super chat? Yeah, thank you. Get better beam for dear husband. Beam? What do you mean beam? Thank you for a super chat. What is Japan's perspective on Yoko Ono? She's a leftist who is against whale hunting. I think she has even written a open letter to then Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, if my memory is correct. I just want her to stop using the name Yoko because I'm Yoko. I should be the only one Yoko in the world. It's actually a common name, pretty common name from older generations. In Japan, lots of girls are named with ko at the end, like Yoko, right? It's actually, it says the child. The character means ko. It means child. Me, I'm the child of the sun, but it just happens to be. But I don't know what meaning it gives to a name, but there are lots of Yoko, Yuko, Kanako, Misako. Who else? Minako. Like everybody. My up until my generation, I think ends with ko. But then names change, right? In the US too, I see that lots of weird names are happening, right? Like why? I'm like I named my dog Taro, and Taro in the US is like John, or why is it? Or Steve or something like that. Like Taro is a very like I don't know, like an example name, simple name, and I do that. But Yoko Ono is so influential, though. I wish I had that much of an influence. I'm an artist still. I'm probably better. Just saying, you shouldn't compete. But I have this feisty mind, Like that's why once I'm hooked on a game, I can't stop. I wish that I was. I wish I would get hooked on making money. Man, I can't be greedy in that way. Like I'm always obsessed with learning something new. And when it comes to gaming, I talked about gaming a lot in the beginning of this stream, but the reason why I talk about it, or the reason why I'm, fascinated by games today is because I'm learning the perspectives that I didn't have before, the gaming system itself, but also like there are lots of perspectives that comes with it. So you learn new ways of thinking. And that's something that I love, about all these new things. Of course, it's gaming is something that Kishida administration is now began investing in. I think that Kishida went somewhere, some other country, and he was talking about the gaming industry to sell, I think. But it's very important, right? um yeah, anyway. Speaking of gaming, Yoko, you should definitely play Metal of Chaos. It is on PC too. I don't have a PC. Buy me a PC, please. I should probably make a wishing list on Amazon. I heard one day though that you have to be careful with the information that you put, because then it can be seen by others or something like that. But I need to look into that. I really like I now I want to invest in the future, right? Like my future self. And I think my vision, I know that many people have a different way of thinking about the world. Some people think that it's going to be apocalyptic. Like, it's the war and everybody dies or some dark world. But for me, the vision that I have today is that developed countries, we are so saturated that I think that I already see what's happening. The cheap labors are done by all the workers from overseas, with like cheaper countries, right? And then all these natives here or in the US too, like we are working remotely at home or in the cool building, and it's all about IT or computer, online, that sort of stuff, and not the labor part. Of course, in countryside, in order to sustain your country, there are factory workers too, but just generally, I feel like it's gonna be like more and more about IT, online sort of things, and then there comes the virtual reality, right? Like you already see the goggle, like the glasses thing, and then of course it's tied with technology, right? And so developed countries are ahead in the game, and then virtual reality system, of course. Meta was horrible, though it was a disaster, but that's the direction that we are going in, right? The virtual reality. And of course, it's not about all this meeting and talking to each other, but it has a lot to do with gaming too. So I really need to keep up with the technology. Of course, I enjoy playing games, but I'm intentionally playing games too, so that I can talk to younger generations, one. And two, I understand the technology. And three, I feel like in the future, like way later though, probably when I'm 100 years old or something, I feel like we will be battling on an iPad. The real war would be like a robot war, and we'll be controlling from an iPad. I feel like that's gonna happen. So that's why I need to make sure that my fingers move, right, to defeat the enemy. I guess that's my fantasy, but I just have a feeling like that. So I'm just making sure that I can do anything, with all this fancy gears and so on. This is luxury, and I almost feel like I don't deserve it. I'm far from being rich, in Japanese society. And then I spend my money to go to Tokyo to do the political activities and so on. So that's really stupid, but come to think of it. But I really, this is everything is investment for me. So yeah, it's very interesting to learn about all these different views and so on. And I really want to, like, learning is so fun. People are always, they go to just consumer mode, and they just consume, and they are like brain dead. And for me, I'm like I think it's bad too, that I feel like I'm always missing something. Like there are more things to install in my system. So I'm always learning, but the learning should be probably, it should come from like the difficult book that my husband is reading for some, for example. But I don't. My husband, studies all these difficult things, and I am more about the culture and modern technology and so on. And I guess that as a couple, we are a team. So, well, speaking of which, I we were saying that I actually suggested this, but I was telling my husband, especially because I don't get enough super chat. I think all of you, right? And I know that your financial situation is not very good, like right now, after COVID. But in order, like, we need to work more, right, and more efficiently. And I suggested to my husband that we should have a live stream together. When my husband and I, when we do political activities together with people from overseas, I'm the translator and my husband is the brain. Like, I'm the mouth and he's the brain. And together we are one person. So that's what happens. And so I'm thinking, like, you guys can ask him questions, like I will keep this stream, like, oh, ask Hyoko, like I will ramble as much as you want me to, right, and take your questions and I can speak my mind. But I'm thinking that you should have other examples too. So and now I have my husband, so why don't we use them, right? And if you if we help you, then you can help us. So it would create a win-win situation. And so, and all this, it's not everything, but the majority of my perspectives come from my husband. He's my political mentor. That's why I married him, because it's efficient. There's love, or definitely love, but it's efficient too, like political activity wise. So if you live together, you can just install the thought process and knowledge that your partner has. So that's why I married him. Part of the reason, I should say part of the reasons why I married him. And I want to introduce him to you. And I think that it's not like, my husband is cool. It's not about that. It's about, you can actually ask him, who's not very much, very, very knowledgeable. And he writes articles for magazines and also gets interviewed a lot. And also he's an activist, like true patriot, from Japan. And he has, even though his English isn't good, and he doesn't really collect information in English, and he um, gets all this public information, but he really has this great international sense, of politics. Not only politics, but history. Like, he knows so much about history, so with and geography. So all of these things combined, like he has this, and then patriotism. So like all of this combined, he has this unique way of viewing things, and he's always right. When I look at political commentators and so on, or agitators, here in Japan, I always look at what they said and what really happened and compare if they were right. The majority are just wrong. Or that they were just went with the flow. They just rode the wave, like they got on the wave and then they got lucky. But for my husband is has can predict what's going to happen very well, because he knows the patterns and the premise of the politics and so on. So like, I really want to introduce him to you. Hmm. You see, this sounds good. Good. I would love to listen to what has to say on some subjects. Yeah. I'll bring him on another day. I wonder which day is good. It's gonna be, Sunday for us is taken. And 2 days in a row would be weird. So maybe maybe like Wednesday or Thursday here, I think. So for you, like Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. But around this time, you should be awake, right? So we will one day we might just hop up together. Okay, and we are also establishing this system to share information, with you. Of course, you have to pay a little bit every month, but yeah. Aside from Patreon, like I'm not using Patreon very much anymore, or not at all. Let's be honest. I'm just, but I really appreciate the patrons, though there are still people that are giving money there. So thank you so much. And but yeah, we are making this platform together. Like I'm so older now from compared to when I began this political journey, and now I'm married. And I'm always with my husband, and I'm more of a supporter. I'm a conservative. I'm such a good wife. I'm not an arrogant, individualistic woman. Who is selfish and egoistic. Those who goes, like to the forefront, from your husband. I am always I'm a conservative. I'm like, oh yeah, husband, yeah, 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 he's awesome, yeah, yeah. So that's what I do. So like even with all these things that I do online, I want to recreate the real life so that everything would go efficiently and beneficial for both you and I. So marriage based on common interest is normal. Yeah, you need like I think that for marriage you need like a common values are everything, and respect. I respect my husband so much that that's why whatever struggle that we have, like I have no problems or doubt. Yeah, so that's good. So many amazing PC games you should play. I want to. Like the other day, I have a gaming channel. Just so you know, I put the link in the description box. So check it out if you can. There are live archives too. So Ryzen, yeah, I wanna get that. Ryzen Ryzen CPUs are better performers and more efficient at the same time compared to Intel. I hear that it's a good gaming computer. So expensive though. So that's why I need to make money. So that I can work. Like I love like all this live streaming thing. I want to be a streamer, I guess. I kind of am on Saturday your nighttime only, but I I'm on a Japanese app playing games too. So I think that it's important that like I am a political activist and that's my number one social status. But at the same time, if you are just only in your political circle, then you can't do politics much at all. Like yes you can, cooperating with your national diet members, I mean your parliament members and so on. You can go to a certain level and you can do a certain kind of activity, but you have to spread the word to like ordinary people who have no idea about politics. There are so many in Japan. Maybe American people are different, for example, but over here in Japan the majority are not interested in politics. And I think that my presence, just my presence, being in another field, for example, like gaming community, if I'm there, then they're gonna think about politics, and they do ask me questions about politics. So that's a good move that's happening. So I want to engage more. So I do enjoy gaming, but not only there for that reason. So Tuesday's better for you or for my time. I mean, oh, your time, right? You're behind, right? Okay. So Thursday, no, Wednesday here. Yes, traditional wife. Yes, yes, yes. Half Life. My American ex was playing Half Life on his. It was actually on a Apple like iMac, but he installed the Windows on iMac too, and he was somehow playing. Mm. You prefer Intel. Interesting. I was a security guard for AMD and got discounts, but was too poor to buy. Oh no, that happens. That happens. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Cool. I like it that you are into gaming too. I think that when you are engaged in political activities for so long, you kind of lose it. Like it's about ordinary people, and you need to talk to ordinary people. Oh, hello, Yoko-san. Hello. I missed your comment earlier, right? Hello, Hide-san. I feel like. Oh yeah, 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 over here. Like I was gonna take it, and then somehow lost timing. My goodness, I'm like, yeah. Good that you called me on time. You did ever hear Davidian by Machine Head? Machine Head, very kick-ass song and a classic group metal song too. Machine Head sounds very very familiar. I used to listen to the band when I was in university. I was listening to so many bands that I don't even remember each band's name. And last night was a nightmare because I remembered this song, but I'm not a native English speaker, so I don't actually know the lyrics. But I kind of know like bits of parts, and I try to Google it, the lyrics to see who sang it, and I can't remember the band's name, and it's so frustrating. But yeah. Video games made me interested in history, and Metal Gear made me interested in politics. That's good. Yes, exactly. Like even like Minecraft, even Minecraft is good for children. Like you think that, when you hear gaming and children, like children gaming, it's bad, right? For their brain or educational level and so on. But actually gaming can teach you a lot. In Minecraft, for example, like you have to first cut the tree and then do this and that, and there are process, and kids can learn like that. And I'm really hoping that I came out with this amazing idea, which I need to suggest to my Mongolian friends. You know how Hong Kongers made a game before, like during the protest in 2019? Was it 19? They made a game about the protest, right? That was a good idea. Was it made by Hong Konger or Taiwanese? I don't remember. But yeah, but when it comes, I was just playing all this arena breakout, right? It's about survival in a battlefield. But I'm like, man, what is more relaxed game? What would be a more relaxed game? And I'm like, Mongolians. You become a Mongolian, and then you know how Mongolians move. They have this mobile culture. They base and then go to another one, and then they need to raise their sheeps like ram. I'm only thinking about food, but you raise your animals and then eat on special occasions and so on. So when you picture that as a game, like you need to first decide the location, and then the animals and so on, and then you have to make sure that you have the tent thing, called gel, and then you have to have a family and interact, and then go on a whole horse, and then have a horse riding, and well, there's a huge bee. um, and then yeah, and then go to the next location, and sometimes you can go into a battle and so on. It will make a great, like what you call, like a racing kind of um games. Mm. Nomadic, yes, yes, yes. Nomads, yes, exactly. Thank you. It's so funny that I forget words. I'm getting older. What are your thoughts on virtual YouTubing? Have you given it any thought? What do you mean? Like you become an avatar and do a YouTube thing or streams with a different face, like as an avatar and so on? If so, I am technology wise, I'm interested and I would do it for fun, but not for my career. I need this face. Would you enjoy VTubing? Like I'm not proud of my voice. Like my voice is weird. So like if meant for foreign viewers, that could be interesting, I guess. But when it comes to Japanese community, Japanese people are so weird, especially nerdy, nerdy Japanese people, like nerds. They like high pitched, very childish voice. I can't even mimic that. I can do the Pikachu voice though, like Pikachu, right? That sort of voice, like Pika Pika, right? So high. I can't. And they have this certain way of speaking, which is so freaking annoying to me, but they love it for some reason. So, like, that's one thing that I struggle in the gaming community because what's cute in the community is this high pitch, annoying, like, very much made up voice. I'm like, don't you get tired? So annoying. But I guess that's yeah. It's called Kawabo, by the way, if you're interested in it. Like Kawabo, Kawabo. So annoying. I hate that culture. Japanese people are weird. Even though I'm Japanese, I can't. I'm like, no. Like, so that's the market for Japanese people, right? Like, they don't. First of all, they don't like very like independent women or very like down to earth women. Some do, but it's rare. So it's culturally Japanese guys want somebody cute and weak and childish in the voice and the face, but then glamorous, like very mature in the body, the boobs and the hips and so on. And they are obsessed with boobs for some reason. It's so weird. Americans are obsessed with like butt, but here it's a boobs. I'm like, didn't you have a good relationship with your mom? Uh, you can use a VTuber avatar for your gaming streams and for posting for this real face. I actually have a narrative. Uh, the application that I use is called Narrative. In Japan, this is the biggest one I have. See, like this is my avatar there. So when I go on and speak there, this avatar moves. So I actually am kind of doing it, but I'm and people like decorate these avatars so well that it's crazy. But Yeah. Anyway, I've been speaking for over an hour and a half, and I bet that my husband wants to come back to this living room. So I should probably go now. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, Black Kitty. Yeah. Very cute avatar. Like people decorate it in details, but I'm the kind of person I'm like, this looks like me, bam, in the end. And as much as I could, like I did that. But people ask others to throw some coins. It's virtual, but you can actually like what to say, like put money into the application, and then so that you can throw, oh sorry, you can throw that to your friends, and then the friends receive the coins or the gifts so that they can improve their avatar. So that's a system. And then so it's like so decorated, and they decorate the avatar, and it's cute. Like they have a good sense, but at the same time, like I'm so comfortable being myself, so I'm uncomfortable when I'm not myself. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me. I've been told I look 15 even though I'm in my 30s. That's so funny. I need to see your face. That's awesome though. I wish people would tell me that. I'm always thought to be older, at least among the Japanese community. Oh, ハムセイさん、どうも。Thank you for coming. Childish voice, very, very suspicious. Yeah, it's so annoying, man. Mirrative. It's mirror. Me. Oh, I should just type it up. Me. This. Sorry, my pronunciation is not very good. Thanks, Yoko. And missing Hide. Yeah, he should be here. I hope that he's gone to buy ice cream or something. Or maybe he's just reading in another room. Thank you, guys. Take care, Yoko. Thanks for streaming. Thank you for coming. It matters that you're here each week. Every week, right? Next week, I should be back from Tokyo, so I will have a lot to talk about with you. I might be too exhausted though. I'm not sure. Stay forever. I need to go. That's my kawabo. I'm American and I'm obsessed with boobs. Boobies. That's good. I'm happy for you. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, like opposite sex is appealing, so that's very healthy. What? Absolutely not. Against what? I don't know. But thank you. Stay now. I gotta go. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you kindly, Hoyoko. Hope to catch wind of your next stream. We can learn so much from you. That's good. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much. I want to offer as much as I can. It's awesome, right? That this is so free. You get to talk to a Japanese in Japan without any money. So thank you. Base try, Yoko. Thank you. Have a good night or good day. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel, hit the bell, and get notifications. Okay. As long as YouTube is not blocking. And follow me on X. I guess it's not like a following. Anyway, thank you. We'll get in touch. Okay. Sayonara, Yoko-san. Sayonara. Good night, everyone. All right, bye then. Okay, thanks again. I'm gonna go this time. Okay, bye.